Welcome to Africa Tales, where stories weave a tapestry of wonder from the heart of Africa. Subscribe now and embark on an adventure that celebrates the soulful essence of Africa through captivating narratives and timeless lessons. In a bustling market in one of the busy towns in Africa, lived a 10-year-old boy named Egosu. Egosu would accompany his mother, Sekina, every day to the market. She sold tomatoes, peppers, and other foodstuffs. The market was lively, filled with people buying and selling, chatting and laughing. Egosu loved being there, helping his mother, and watching the excitement around him. Egosu was a cheerful and kind-hearted boy. He always wore a big smile on his face and was ready to help anyone in need. His mother, Sekina, was proud of him. She would often say, "Egosu, you are the light of my life. Always stay kind and honest." One bright morning, as the sun climbed high in the sky, Egosu and Sekina set up their stall in the market. The air was filled with the delicious smells of food, and the sounds of people bargaining echoed all around. Egosu helped his mother arrange the tomatoes and peppers neatly on the table. Nearby, Egosu's friend, Nesta, was helping his mother sell yams and potatoes. Nesta and Egosu would often play together during breaks, chasing each other around the market and sharing stories. As the day went on, more and more people filled the market. Egosu was busy helping his mother when he noticed a woman walking by. She looked worried, searching her bag. Suddenly, a small bundle of money fell from her bag and landed near Egosu's feet. He quickly picked it up and called out to her, "Excuse me, madam. You dropped your money." The woman turned around, and her eyes widened with surprise. But instead of thanking Egosu, she screamed, "Thief! Thief! This boy has stolen my money." Her loud voice drew the attention of everyone around. In seconds, a crowd started to gather. Egosu's heart pounded in his chest. He tried to explain, No, I didn't steal it. You dropped it, and I was just trying to give it back to you." But the woman's screams drowned out his words. People in the crowd started whispering and pointing fingers at Egosu. Fear and confusion filled his mind. Why was this happening? He was just trying to help. The crowd's murmurs grew louder, and their faces turned angry. Egosu felt a hand grab his arm roughly, pulling him into the center of the crowd. He looked around desperately, hoping someone would listen to him, but no one seemed to care. As the situation escalated, Nesta noticed the commotion. He saw his friend surrounded by an angry mob and knew something was wrong. Nesta's heart raced. He had to do something. Meanwhile, Egosu tried to stay calm, but tears started growing in his eyes. He thought of his mother and how worried she would be. He didn't understand why this was happening. He was innocent. Amid the chaos, Nesta broke free from the crowd and ran as fast as he could to find Sekina. He had to get her before it was too late. The market's lively atmosphere turned tense and chaotic as the woman's screams continued to echo. The crowd's whispers turned to angry shouts, and Egosu found himself at the center of a whirlwind of accusations. Fear gripped his heart as he tried to explain, but his voice was lost in the sea of outrage. "Thief! How dare you steal from an honest woman?" shouted one man, his face twisted with anger. "But I didn't steal. I was just trying to give her money back," Egosu pleaded, his voice trembling. The woman who had accused Egosu stood firm, her eyes filled with fury. "I saw him pick up my money. He must have stolen it." Egosu felt tears stream down his cheeks. He had never been so scared in his life. He looked around for a friendly face, someone who might believe him, but all he saw were angry and distrustful eyes. The crowd grew larger and more agitated. People pushed and shoved, trying to get a closer look at the boy accused of theft. Some shouted for justice, while others simply watched, caught up in the frenzy. In the midst of the chaos, a few men grabbed Egosu and forced him to the ground. "We need to teach him a lesson," one of them said, his voice cold and determined. Egosu struggled, his heart pounding in his chest. "Please, listen to me. I didn't do anything wrong," he cried out, but his words fell on deaf ears. Nesta, who had managed to find Sakina, pulled her through the crowd. "Mother, hurry. They have Egosu. They are saying he stole money, but I know he didn't." Nesta's voice was frantic. Sakina's face went pale as she saw the scene unfolding before her. She pushed through the crowd, desperate to reach her son. "Egosu, Egosu," she called out, her voice filled with panic. But the mob had already made up its mind. They dragged Egosu to the center of the market, near a pile of old car tires. The men forced the tires over his small frame, trapping him. "Stop, please, stop." Sakina's voice broke through the noise, but it was too late. One of the men poured fuel over the tires, and the pungent smell filled the air. Egosu's eyes widened with terror. "Please, don't do this. I'm innocent," he cried, his voice shaking. The crowd fell silent for a moment as they watched a match being lit. The tiny flame flickered in the man's hand, and Egosu's fate seemed sealed. Just then, a loud cry pierced the air. "Wait, stop, he's innocent," Sakina shouted, finally reaching the front of the crowd. She pushed her way through, tears streaming down her face. "This is my son. He didn't steal anything. Please, don't hurt him." The crowd hesitated, looking at Sakina with a mixture of confusion and doubt. The man with the match paused, the flame still flickering. "He's just a child," Sakina pleaded, her voice breaking. "He's always been honest and kind. He would never steal." The woman's words seemed to reach some of the people in the crowd. They started to murmur amongst themselves, uncertainty replacing their anger. But the man with the match, still filled with rage, shouted, "She's lying. The boy is a thief and he deserves to be punished." Sakina fell to her knees, clutching her hands together. "Please, I beg you, let him go. He's innocent," she cried. At that moment, Nesta stepped forward. "I saw what happened. Egosu was just trying to help. He found the money and tried to give it back," he said, his young voice strong and clear. The crowd's murmurs grew louder, and more people started to question the woman's accusation. Some began to see the truth in Sakina and Nesta's words. The man with the match hesitated, his resolve wavering. Finally, one of the elders of the market stepped forward. "We must not act in haste. We need to find the truth," he said, his voice calm and authoritative. The crowd began to disperse, their anger cooling. The elder helped remove the tires from around Egosu, and the boy collapsed into his mother's arms, sobbing with relief. As the truth began to emerge, the market slowly returned to its usual hustle and bustle, but the scars of the day's events would remain in the hearts of those who witnessed it. Sakina held Egosu tightly, grateful that her son was safe, but the fear and pain of the false accusation lingered. The relief that washed over Sakina and Egosu was short-lived. The angry woman, still adamant that Egosu was guilty, stirred up the crowd once more. "Don't be fooled by their tears," she shouted. "That boy is a thief, and he deserves to be punished." Despite the elder's plea for calm, the crowd's anger reignited. This time, they were even more determined to see Egosu punished. The man with the match, emboldened by the woman's words, stepped forward again. Enough talk. We need to set an example, he said, his voice hard and unyielding. Before anyone could stop him, he struck the match against the ground. The tiny flame flickered to life, and in an instant, it was tossed onto the fuel-soaked tires around the Gosu. Flames erupted, roaring to life with a terrifying intensity. Sakina's scream of horror echoed through the market. "No, please, no." She tried to rush forward, but the heat from the flames forced her back. Agosu's cries filled the air, desperate and heart-wrenching. "Mama, help me," he screamed, his voice breaking with pain and fear. The flames quickly consumed the tires, and thick black smoke billowed into the sky. Nesta, horrified by the scene, tried to pull Sakina away from the flames. "We need to get help," he shouted, his voice shaking. But it was too late. The crowd, now silent and still, watched in horror as the flames did their terrible work. Within moments, the flames began to die down, leaving behind a scene of unimaginable tragedy. Agosu's small, charred body lay motionless amidst the smoldering remains of the tires. Sakina fell to her knees, her grief overwhelming her. "My son, my precious boy," she sobbed, reaching out to touch what was left of Agosu. The crowd, realizing the horror of what they had done, began to disperse, their faces filled with guilt and regret. Nesta stood by Sakina, tears streaming down his face. He couldn't believe what had just happened. The woman who had accused Agosu tried to slip away, but the elder of the market stopped her. "You have caused an innocent boy's death," he said, his voice filled with sorrow and anger. "You must answer for this." As the market slowly emptied, Sakina was left to mourn her son. The once bustling market was now eerily quiet, the tragedy weighing heavily on everyone's hearts. The lesson of that terrible day would never be forgotten, but it had come at a terrible price. The news of Agosu's tragic death spread quickly through the village, leaving a dark cloud of sorrow and regret hanging over the community. The market, once a place of vibrant life and activity, was now a somber reminder of the day's events. Sakina, heartbroken and grief-stricken, found it difficult to return to the market. Every corner reminded her of her lost son. Her friends and neighbors offered their condolences, but nothing could ease the pain she felt. Nesta, too, was deeply affected by what had happened. He couldn't shake the image of his friend engulfed in flames. He visited Sakina every day, trying to comfort her in any way he could. One evening, as the sun began to set, the elders of the village gathered at the market square. They had called a meeting to address the tragic incident and to ensure that such a terrible mistake would never happen again. "We must learn from this tragedy," said the chief elder, his voice heavy with sorrow. "Agosu was an innocent boy, and we failed him. We must never let our anger and fear lead us to such a horrific act again." The woman who had falsely accused Agosu stood before the crowd, her face pale and eyes filled with tears. I was wrong," she stammered. "I thought he had stolen my money, but I was wrong. I didn't mean for this to happen." The crowd listened in silence, their faces reflecting a mix of anger, sadness, and regret. The chief elder continued, "From this day forward, we will seek the truth before passing judgment. We will ensure that no innocent life is lost because of false accusations." The villagers nodded in agreement, their hearts heavy with the weight of their collective guilt. They knew that the memory of Agosu would stay with them forever, a painful reminder of the consequences of their actions. Sakina, standing at the edge of the crowd, felt a small sense of comfort in the elder's words. Though nothing could bring her son back, she hoped that his death would not be in vain. In the days and weeks that followed, the village took steps to ensure that justice and truth would always prevail. They established a council to investigate any accusations before any action was taken, ensuring that no innocent person would suffer as Agosu had. Sakina slowly began to heal, supported by her friends and neighbors. She continued to sell her goods at the market, always keeping Agosu's memory close to her heart. She shared his story with others, reminding them of the importance of seeking the truth and standing against injustice. Nesta, too, found his own way to honor Agosu's memory. He became a vocal advocate for fairness and justice in the village, never allowing the people to forget the lesson they had learned. He often visited Sakina, sharing stories and memories of Agosu, keeping his friend's spirit alive. The market gradually regained its lively atmosphere, but the memory of that tragic day remained. It served as a constant reminder to the villagers of the importance of compassion, understanding, and the pursuit of truth. As time went on, the village became a symbol of justice and fairness, known far and wide for their commitment to ensuring that such a tragedy would never happen again. The story of Agosu, the innocent boy who was wrongly accused and tragically lost his life, became a powerful tale passed down through generations, teaching the importance of truth and the devastating consequences of false accusations. And so, the village, though scarred by the events of that fateful day, emerged stronger and more united, forever honoring the memory of Agosu and the lessons his story had taught them. We hope you enjoyed this heartwarming story. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe for more captivating tales. Until next time, may love guide your journey. Goodbye.